Yeah.
All right. So first of all, a correction. I just want to correct the Maimah Chazal. I mixed my mother Chazal. So I want to correct that. That's page 154. The end of Yigdal. So when the Rebbe was speaking here in this is about the Derech Hashem. The Derech Hashem last it's Tzedakah or Mishpat. A derech, this road that connects both ways, Milamayla Lamata, and then the contribution of Milamata Lamayla. It's referring to the Kav, remember? And the Torah is the Pnimius of the Kav. But the Torah is Mamshech Likus through the Kav, which means respecting creation, not imploding it. But nonetheless, because as explained earlier, the Pnimius Akav conveys the inner desire of Hashem to V'dira b'tachtonim. Therefore, the impossible happens, and the likus is drawn into Gvul, and Gvul is not imploded. Because that's the whole desire. And Gvul dafke here. Okay, so he went into detail about the Derech Havaya, and spoke about, first of all, Torah, Bachlal, Bing Dam Shacha, that's the Kav, and then the mitzvahs of the various branches that branch off the Kav. And then he went into greater detail in mitzvahs aseh, mitzvahs leis aseh, and pointed out that mitzvahs leis aseh are even higher than mitzvahs aseh, as we explained yesterday. And then he went even further that the chumras and the diktukim of Chazal are even deeper still. And the Maimah Chazal that he quoted was, they're sweeter than Torah. So the context of that quote is, just want to clarify. So the context is the Gemara in Avodah. The Gemara brings the pasuk of Shir Hashirim where she says, which is Knesset Yisrael, says to Hashem, Ki toiv doidecha miyoyim. Your friendship, your love is greater, is more precious to me than wine. So the Gemara explains it means to say that Knesset Yisrael say to the Eibishter, your friends, your doidecha, your love, which is your also be read as your friends, that's referring to the enactments of the sages. And Yidden is saying that's even more precious than the wine, which is the body of Torah itself. Now, Rebbe actually says, as we all know, that Yayin goes on Yayin Shel Torah. Yayin Shel Torah goes on Pnimius HaTorah. There's shemen, there's oil, it's the essence, and there's water, there's all kinds of metaphors for Torah in terms of liquid. Cholav also. And Yain is generally the secrets of Torah. Nonetheless, Ki Toiv Didecha explains in the Likutei Torah that the chumras and the diktukim which Chazal acted come from an even deeper place than Pnimius HaTorah. Because that's expression of the Ratz and Atzmi of Hashem, as explained in Chassidus. Then I just wanted to correct that the source of that statement, that he didn't say they are revim, they are sweeter to me even than words of Torah. What he was saying in the context of the Ois was that it's always the endless paradox. Here it's only a diktuk and it's a chumrah of Chazal, and yet in mitzvahs itself, this is what connects the Atzmos. And he goes and concludes the Ois, as we explained yesterday, that the Amshacha is through Torah. Torah is the means, it's the gilui, the oil, but to ensure that what are we drawing down is taken from Atzmos, the Eibush himself. This is what he refers to as the Achsharas HaKeli, preparing the Keli. And that's Iskafia and Shuvah, and Yisra is the embodiment of that, coming from Avodah Zarah, and now knowing Ki Godel Havayim Mikol Elikim. That's all a critical akdama to ensuring that the address which Torah is mamshich is not just mamshich from Chachmos Yisbarich, but from Etzem HaChochma, and moreover Atzmos HaMahus. So Torah, rather Tshuva, Iskafia, this is all the same general theme as Diktukim, Chumres, even Minhagim. But certainly Diktukim and Chumres, because you only need a Diktuk and a Chumra in order to prevent possible transgression. It's all part of the Teshuvah. You follow the Teshuvah motif The tzaddik doesn't need chumras, doesn't need dikdukim. It's a lower generation that these all emerge more and more so. Now, before Mashiach comes, Chassidus came revealed so many dikdukim and chumras and minhagim. There's many dimensions, but one of them is it's tshuva. And our generation needs all of this profound nuance and detail. The point here is that these are not just icing on the cake, the chumras. And if you don't, nish gefährlich. The opposite is true. That these chumras and the tshuva and the skafia, that is what connects to atzmos. So that the mitzvah that you do, the path, the Torah that you do, will draw down from atzmos. And fill all of the gaps and so on that Avedas would have brought about. So now concluding, I say, and then we'll make a summary of the Maimon. Zehu, in concluding now, that Moishe Rabbeinu said, "Va'ata Yigdal no koyach adnai," and now may the koyach of the Lord be expanded, enlarged. Shezeu amar shehoshiv Moishe. Al divrei Hashem. This is Moshe's response to Hashem's words. Ad on lo yinatzuni. Till where will they vex me? As we explained at the beginning, this is now the 10th Aveda, so all 10 dimensions of creation, which is time and space, are now blemished. So the Abish is saying there's nowhere to go. As we mentioned, it can always be worse within that. But in general, they've touched every aspect of creation. So Moishe responded to that, "Va'ata Yigdal no koyach adnai." What's his answer? And when he does tshuva, and that he explained earlier, that he says, "B'chol koyach," with all of his koyach, keser and chachma, which means his rotzen and bittul, nimshach b'chin hashmoi ha'gadol. So what do we draw down? We draw down the great name, Shalamayla Mishtal Shalos, beyond creation of the whole system of creation. Shadizeh mismalim kolab gomim, and therein all of the blemishes are rectified, are filled, all the gaps are filled, and the blemishes cleansed. Zeh gamin in the amiris, Amen Yeshmerab b'chol koyach, and this is what the Gemara in the Zohar says. Yid says, with all this koyach, Yigdal, Va'ata Yigdal no koyach adnai, Shapshichim b'china shmei rabo, that Yid thereby b'chol koyach, which he means now is tshuva. So we're talking about tshuva after the Chet HaEgel, the last point of the previous ois, the critical opening and connection to Atzmusi's Baruch, which happens through tshuva beyond classic Torah. Torah will certainly affect, no matter how it's done, some level of Gilil Likus. But to draw an Atzmos, Torah must be observed, Nasa before Torah. It's got to be based on Skafia and Tshuva and so on. So, this therefore brings about the drawing down of Hashem's essential name. Pre-Tzimtzum, through all the three Olamas, all the way down to this world, this thereby completes the whole purpose of making this world a home. A home is not a place where a person engages on some functional and calculated level, but that's where he's there, unadorned with his very essence. That's what nourishes his very being, and that's what Hashem wants. And he wants to reveal it down here, Lamata, and that's done through the h'tsh mirabah b'chol koyach, through the Aved of Tshuva. To take the mitzvahs coming from Tshuva. Kifishis Galdi Lasid Lava, as will be revealed, Lasid Lava, Bevias Mashiach and Kena B'Kodim Mamish, we're affecting it now, but the realization of it will be B'Kodim Mamish. Okay, now let's do an overview of the mind. Yeah? So the Zohar says in the pasuk, "V'ata Yigdal." The Zohar makes that connection to Yeshua Rabbi, b'chol koicha. The Zohar says that through that, even the decree leveled against the Yid for the next 70 years is torn up. So the Ramez explains that notes that Moishe doesn't say, Hashem doesn't say how much longer will they aggravate me, which actually does say later in the context or earlier of the Meraglim, but here he mentions not Admo, but honor. He's expecting to say to when rather than till where, because he's invoking the union of place. What's the union of place? Malchus. Malchus is that attribute which gives rise to time and space. It's the governance attribute of Hashem, expressive of God's desire to be king over subjects, and the subjects are limited to time and space. So Malchus is that creative force, the word of Hashem, the creative force that brings all existence into being. And Hashem is saying they've corrupted it all. This is the 10th Avera, the 10th Chet. They've corrupted their own nefesh from Chochmah down to its Malchus, and they've corrupted every aspect of my world. So the solution, Moshe Rabbeinu says, is now through Yidden's tshuva, this is your inner desire, this is the whole point of it all, even though you're complaining, even though the Abish is complaining and feigning anger, and on some level, legitimate anger, but it's all to provoke Moshe Rabbeinu's response. I didn't want this pretty world to begin with. Everybody nicely obedient and never, and staying the straight and narrow. It's not really what I wanted. I actually, a very nice marshal for this is, I'm not sure where this is from. It could be from Chassidus itself. The marshal goes like this, a business person. So the business person, to attract investors and not just that, when he makes his business, he makes a business plan. Now, the most critical part of the business plan, not to tell you guys what in the business world is, to forewarn and to anticipate everything that can go wrong as much as possible. That's a big part of your plan. So it's all highly structured and anticipatory. In this case, if you want to attract investors, that's the first question. But what happens if you thought of all of the ifs, and here's the plan, how we're going to negotiate? Good. So based on this plan, the investment will yield so much and so much return. And that's the same that our logo. But every businessman, deep down, because he's a reflecting of the Eibishter, this whole world is, Eretz Canaan. Canaan means Kanaani is a seicher, a businessman. We're all businessmen. What's the point of businessman? That the true profit comes when things go completely awry. The whole thing collapses. One of the two. All the situation collapses. So either the whole plan collapses, or here's where the true genius comes, the ability to exploit the sudden downfall and downturn into a profit. And that's where the great profits are made. So the big money is made, not in the staid, projected profits, but in the moments of chaos and collapse and mistakes even. And that's when the adrenaline flows. And that's when the big profit is yielded. But to all of the investment invested till then. But it requires the courage, the confidence, and the craziness to remain and stay the course. Because that's a reflection of the Kavanah Pnimius. On the one hand, God says, here's Torah and mitzvahs, do not sin. Please, I'm begging you over and over again, follow the straight and narrow. But an inarticulated kavanah, it's a dangerous word perhaps, it shouldn't be Chas exploited. But an inarticulated kavanah is, you're going to, I made you that way. But not only is it not all hope is lost, dafke then through the tshuva, but that's when we really connect. And that's what really draws me into this world in the deepest way, making a dira b'tachtoin. Just one more illustration of that, or one more, not illustration, one more manifestation of that is in marriage as well. I mean, I'm sure there are such marriages where husband and wife are just on perfect behavior throughout their lives and perfectly respectful and never raise their voice from the get-go. And that's a nice marriage. But I hope that actually does not happen. There's got to be moments of disappointment and betrayal. It doesn't have to be drastic. Let's not overdo it. But moments of, how could you have done this? And all of that is in order to deepen the connection far beyond the passion, the tshuva, far beyond the natural, relatively more superficial connection. And that is what mikveh is all about. The whole idea of mikveh separation, which on the surface is a crazy idea. So husband and wife, he can hand something to another woman that he doesn't know. He can give her the pencil. His wife, he can't. It's his wife, for God's sakes. The answer is that factored into the marriage is this very, very separation in a very natural way, just through mikveh, so you don't have to go beyond that, in order to achieve a much far more intense union than if the union was always ever present. So this is the endless paradox of life. Anyway, so now Moishe Rabbeinu was saying, Eibishter, now Yidden are going to do tshuva and say, Yehei Shmei Rabba b'chol koicham, and they're going to reveal the Shmei Rabba in the world. And the whole Maimon is to explain, what does this mean? This outline is a general outline of Chassidus B'chalal. What's unique, although there's many nuances in every paragraph. But what is, I'm not going to all the details now, but I want to zero in on the Nekuda of Yehei Shmei Rabba. And it's all, the main ois is ois base, which you've got to get clear. Before creation, he and his name is alone. So I'm just going to give a general statement without going into the words of the mind, because we'll get lost perhaps in the words. Just the general Nekud. There is Stam Shem and the Shmoi. Shmoi Agodl. Shmei Rabba, which is the level pre-Tzimtzum. What does it mean? Shame and name means implicit in the name is otherness. Someone calls you by your name. You don't need it for someone else to relate to you. Moreover, a name is the merest reflection of a person. External. As Shakespeare said, what's in the name? Many people share the same name as you do, and you're very different. So what does it tell you? What does it say about you? And just as a caveat, we all know that a name does reflect your personality. And Rabbi Meir could know a person's character from the name, said the Gemara. How is it that people have the same name? Are they very different? So one answer is, your name includes also Ben, your mother or your father, and even grandparents. So there's much more to it than just Yaakov or Moishe. Anyway, but on the surface, a name is just a title. So what does it mean? So there's the Eibishter's name as it is classically in Ishtalshalus. That's Malchus Datzilis. And Malchus Datzilis is the creative word of God that brings Biyah into existence. How much is the Eibishter investing of himself in creation? Negligible times negligible times negligible. In fact, the whole notion, as we pointed out, Hashem being a creator, that's a whole Yerid affair. He's not a creator, chose to be created. It's a Yerid, it's a descent. So, as we all know, Malchus, like a word conceals everything that's invested in it. The listener has to decode the meaning of the word and get the meaning. The word itself is just a negligible expression of the person speaking. That is Malchus. And what's Shmei Rabba? Just to summarize them, I'm going to oversimplify, but Malchus is this gvul, this very finite expression of godly, extremely minute. And that means Hashem, the gilui of godliness is eclipsed there. What's Shmei Rabbah? He went into the details of who Ushmai. It means that at the level pre-tzimtzum within Atzmos, the Koyach HaGvul does not conceal him. His desire there, who he said is the Etzimah, that's Sfiris and Ketz. And Shmai is this always base. Shmai is the articulated Aliyah Saratz, and I want 10 Sfiris. How finite can you get? You're talking numbers, within numbers you got this 10. Not 9, not 11 in the words of Sefer Yetzirah. So there is an articulation, as it were, within Atzmos for finite you. However, there the finite you, the inyan of shame as within the Eibert himself, does not conceal him, as Malchus does in the whole process once the Eir is projected in the Tzimtzum. It's all him. The Eibishter's essential decision to want to have what? A world that will call him by his name, a world that's made up of 10 spheres and everything else, all articulated within the divine being. Of course, that's where it all starts. But the point is that there, Shmei Rabbah, this Gvul there, this number, this 10, this Chachma, down to Malchus, it's all formed, as it were, in the divine mind, the divine being, but it doesn't conceal him. In other words, if the viewer would be there, what would he see? Not lost on him would be the Eibishter's decided to express 10 spheres. Oh, this is Atzmos talking here. No tzimtzum, there's no concealment. Then the Eibishter, because he wanted to put us in a world that doesn't know or feel this, so there comes a holy stalshalis and a tzimtzum. So the end result is oblivious to all of this, even oblivious to the fact that there's a God. The whole Avodah is that through Avodah, not we discover him, but we connect him and we reveal his essential truth, the Shmei Rabbah. Where in this world, through the Kav, as he says at the end of the Maimon, it's all in the Kav and all the tributaries of the Kav, respecting. That's the point. He wants his truth to suffuse all of his creation down to the lowest levels. From our perspective, concealment. And we are the one that draw on his essence, uniting all with him. And we have to do that. That's what he wants. Or restated, he wants to have this essential connection with in the minutiae of our little lives. The physical minutiae of our lives, with our bodies, where we sleep, eat, drink, and all. The tiniest things. This should be a reflection of Atzmusa Yisborah, of a relationship that is absolutely one with him. Fully you realize when Mashiach comes, mitzvahs do it now, but there was the end of the Maimon. Wait a second. Mitzvahs ain't enough, because that can be a huge trip. It could be a huge ego trip. He's a Godel, he's a Talmud Chacham, he's a fine Jew, he's a philanthropist, he's a Balzdok, he's a scholar. And even if it's not that, but it can all just be impressed by, taken by the wisdom of God, the beauty of godliness, but really losing that it's him. This is only beautiful because it's him. If it wouldn't be him, then nothing. It's easy to be impressed by Yiddishkeit in its externality, a beautiful way to live. It's deep wisdom, it's philosophy, it's a beautiful way, it's Kabbalah, and forget that this is all Hashem's chosen way to reveal his essence to us. And what opens up one to be mamshich atzmos in the Torah that we learned, pshat, remed, drush, and sod, in the mitzvahs, the final point of the Maimon. A little bit of iskafia and shuva, a bittul, Yisrael, coming from a tortured world and exposing all the false gods, and now va'ata yadai to God lavai. The false gods he speaks of are not just the literal idolatry, but the false gods of a Yiddishkeit that is, as it were, devoid of the truth of it all, and that is, it is simply Hashem's desire to connect to me. It's him. And that's what makes it beautiful, and that's why the wisdom is wisdom, and the beauty is beauty, and the holy Shtalshalis is a wonderful thing. That's the Shmei Rabbah. So in summary, it's Shmei, name, this otherness, this gvul, we're hardcore. This little tiny little universe, little world, my little address. But it's Shmei Rabbah. Here we are being mamshich the truth that all of this is one with him, and we are mamshich atzmusi yisborech in every detail of creation. As you pointed out in the past, this is what a home is. Home has 1 billion components, but if it's a true home, you walk in there and you what do you see? You're building, you're sensing the people that live here. On the surface, like any other home, there's a toilet, and there's a shower, and there's a door, and there's a window, and there's pictures, and there's ornaments, cups, and then pots and pans. That's bechitzonius, but obviously the perceptive eye sees right away. The atmosphere, this is not just a part of the pan. This is her part of the pan. Everything is reflective of the unique people that live here. And the paradox is that it's reflected in the most inconsequential things. The more functional it is, you'll find that, pretty much commonly everywhere else. But it's not functional. So why is it here? Because she likes this and he wants it here. This color, this little pitchivke, small detail that really is expressive of these soulmates, this family, this couple, whatever it is that lives here. That's what we said at the end of the mind, but the chumbras and the diktukim and the minhagim, they express the atzmic connection. Yeah, you yoitze without it, so you don't. You ataka yoitze without it. You get them happy without it. And Gan Eden, as they would say, Shai Olam is 310 worlds. You don't need this diktuk, is it? This little kvetch, the Alter Rebbe added, and the Rebbe adds this. Yeah. In terms of function, be a fine Jew without it. In terms of touching atzmusik is borech and revealing the essence in the world, it's dafke in the nuance. It really doesn't have to be there, but it's just there. That's just the way it is. A minhag is born from this very deep place. You have to. No, there's an Eibishter, and that's what we do. That's how we do it. We dance in Chastayra. Where's it written? Nowhere. Hakafas. Somewhere, someplace, it just spontaneously. I don't have this how to be fascinating to see. The first Hakafas, someone saying, Kindalach, going to the order of pulling out the Sefer Torah after Reisa. Someone should research how it happens. It's fairly recent in history. The end of Golus. It's when Minhagim come out. It's very incredible. Why? Places why. I'm a Jew. We do this. That's what God and I do. We dance together crazy around the bin. Sit and learn it. Right out of it. That's what we do. So dafke in these things, that the essential connection is expressed. Okay, that's pretty much really an overview of the Maimed. No substitute to learn it again and again and again and appreciate all of the beauty of the Maimed. Maybe tomorrow continue the Chazorah. Let's read.